Hello everyone, my name is Jasmine and welcome to my channel. I was inspired by this welcoming of spring, the future of spring coming. It's been so cold here in Michigan that I've been looking forward to bright colors and warmer temperatures, so I kind of channeled that into my card project for today. We are starting off with some 140-pound Strathmore watercolor cardstock, and I'm using an Avery L. Wonky Stitches frame die. And this cuts just smaller than a standard 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. It's a little bit bigger than 4 by 5 1/4, somewhere in between there. I don't know the exact measurements, but I do really like this frame. I love the stitched edges it gives and the more finished look to it, and it mats perfectly with a standard card base. So the stamp set we're going to use is by Concord and 9th, and it's called You Are Enough. And this can be a layering stamp set, or you can use the flower image, a standalone image. So it's kind of flexible and versatile that way. And because we're going to stamp on watercolor cardstock, and I plan on using Zig watercolor markers, I need to stamp this. I'm going to stamp this like 4 times to make sure I get a good enough impression. And then I can go fill in some of the missing pieces with a Faber-Castell Artist Pit marker. And I'm going to use archival ink because it's waterproof, and it's also nice and black and dark. So like I said, I have to stamp it several times, not because there's a problem with the stamp or the ink, it's because of the texture of the watercolor paper. So I take my time using my MISTI to make sure that I get the same impression on the same exact position, so I don't get any weird overlapping lines or anything like that. So I take my time, kind of press down on each different spot, try to get the best impression I can, the most ink down I can. But if you wanted to skip the inking and just heat emboss the image, you could do that too. So excuse my head, I needed to get down closer to the image so I could see exactly where I was laying down ink with my pen. And that is a Faber-Castell Artist Pit marker. And I bought mine in a pack of 4. They have 4 different nib widths. Some are super tiny for super fine lines, and others are a little wider. And they are artist illustrator markers or pens. So the ink is waterproof, it doesn't budge. And it just makes it nice to kind of fill in, that's the M, the medium width. Nice to fill in any bare spots. So we're going to go in with some Zig Clean Color Real Brush markers. I need to come up with short names for these things. And they're watercolor-esque markers. They're not really a watercolor pigment, but they do move easily with water. So I lay down where I want the darkest area to be, and then I blend it out using my paintbrush, or like I did with parts of this. You can use either a Wink of Stella or a Spectra Noir clear glitter brush pen, and those will help move the color as well. And these do layer quite nicely, but if it's dry and you reapply, it can reactivate as well. So just play with them, see how they work, and that way you can kind of get the best way to do things like that. I'm not super familiar with these. I've had these for quite a while. I just haven't used them very much. I've had other things that have been more fun. So I'm kind of challenging myself to use what's in my craft room and get to know my products a lot better. It's easy to get entertained with the next new thing and the next new stamp set and all that kind of thing. So it's one of the goals I've set for myself for 2017 is to use more of what I have. So this is a super light pink. I think this is number 26. But it's a super light pink that's in, I have the 60 count set. And it's not quite as light as I thought it would be. This is a little brighter than I expected it to be. It's not a bad thing, just a little bit of a subtle difference. But I do really like how it blended out nicely and gave me a really delicate look towards the edges of the petals and the flower, which is what I was going for. So it was nice that it worked out. So next I'm going in with a medium green tone. And I will have all of these specific numbers to the specific markers on the blog. So if you want to check that out, if you want to know specifically what colors I'm using, you can head over there and check that out over there. These are numbered and titled. So I'm going in with a medium blue around the bottom edge of the flower. One thing I've noticed in using these is if you want to blend it out with water, you need to do it sooner rather than later. It'll still move if it's stone dry, but it moves easier if you apply water to it right after you've applied it to your paper. So there I went ahead and used my Spectrum Noir glitter pen just to kind of play with it and see what kind of effects I could get. So I used the glitter pen to kind of move it away from the edges and then went in with my paintbrush to really get a soft blended out look. So I wanted it to fade into white as much as I could get it to. And I was having a little bit of trouble getting my Spectrum Noir pen to flow there. So I went with my paintbrush and continued to blend it out. I do really like how easily these pens blend out to white, as long as you don't add too much pigment. So then on the top I took a lighter, more like a sky blue color, and did the top edges of the flower. And when you're doing kind of considering how you want it to look, you want to remember that you want your dark underneath your object and light above your object, and it helps to move the light across the image, if you will. Kind of helps your eye to focus on where it belongs and put your shadows in the appropriate places so it doesn't look off. So I kept the dark blue on the bottom where our shadow would naturally cast, and the light blue on the top. And it helps to ground the image too, so it's not necessarily floating. And there's a little piece of glitter stuck to my cardstock and I could not get it off. It's kind of driving me nuts. So next I went in with a darker pink underneath the sentiment. And I wanted to give this kind of like a brush stroke kind of look. So I made sure not to color all the white space around each word. I blended it out, but I wanted to make sure there was still visible white space. So I started with my Spectra Noir sparkle pen and then went back in with my paintbrush and blended that out. And I really love how that turned out, and you could still see, you got some of the hard edges, you could still see some of the brush strokes, and it looked not overdone, like not too perfect, and I really enjoyed that. And if you're using your sparkle pens, either the Wink of Stella or Spectra Noir, make sure you kind of clean off your tip, because it will pick up color. So I've got my card base there, and I've got a black glitter paper panel cut 4 1/4 to 5 1/2, and that is Die Cuts with a View glitter paper. And I'm going to adhere score tape around all the edges and burnish that down with my bone folder, and then just trim off any edges. Now, score tape is the strongest dry adhesive I've ever come across. So if you stick it down to something, it will stick. You're not taking it up without it damaging the surface. So I put a little bit of tape runner in the middle to help me position it correctly, so it's not overlapping or it's not skewed at all. And then when I get that perfectly straight, I can then go remove the backing paper from the score tape and adhere that down to my card base. So to adhere our watercolored panel to the card base, I basically do the same process. Line it with score tape along the edges and then lay it down. And score tape comes in all kinds of widths, from 1/8 of an inch all the way up to, I think it's like a 4-inch wide roll of adhesive. So I have a ton of it at all times. I go through it and it's not too expensive. So to finish up our card, I've taken some sequins from 2 different packs of Little Things by Lucy Abrams. I think one is Pearl Necklace and the other one is Fuchsia something. And so I scattered those around my card, and then I used some Tombow Monty Multi Glue. There it is, Passion Flower and Pearl Necklace. I just squeeze out a little pile of glue and then just dip my sequins in it using my tweezers there. And then that finished up the card. So let me know what you think. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you're up to date every time I publish a new video. And be sure to let me know what you think. Let me know what you'd like to see moving forward. If there's a specific technique or certain steps that you want to see, just let me know and I will do my best to get that up for you. Thanks guys, have a great day, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.